Canada as we head into this evening and tonight. Let's talk about those warnings right now in Ontario. We have a winter storm warning in place, highlighted in pink, along the shores of Erie from Kingston east into Montreal. Quebec City under that blowing snow warning. Also further southwest, Sarnia, blowing snow, a huge issue. Hamilton, you've seen blizzard conditions with visibility down to less than 400 meters, 4 hours of that. So very poor driving conditions. It's a nightmare out there, and not to mention those winds as well. They continue to be fairly strong as we head throughout this evening. So even after the system does clear out, we will still be dealing with the blowing snow. The heaviest snow right now, that's highlighted in the darker blue colors. Windsor has seen a lot of it, and we're still seeing that push through. Toronto Pearson, as of 2 p.m., saw roughly 9 centimeters. We could see up to 15 there. Brockville, Kingston, seeing the heavy snow now. Ottawa getting into that heavier snow. As this tracks east throughout this evening, Montreal, we could see between 15 and 17 centimeters there for you. High pressure will push in, so clearing in Ontario tonight. Again, blowing snow will still be quite an issue on the road, so still some nasty conditions. Further to the north, this next system pushes in. That will be a story for northern Ontario tomorrow, in through the Nickel Belt for your Friday morning. But let's stick with this first system for now, because that's what we're being hit hard with. We could see up to 25 centimeters for the Niagara region. Along the shores of Erie, again, we're expecting higher amounts, but the further north you go, including Barrie, the lesser amounts expected as that system does push further towards the east. Montreal, 17 centimeters. That's how much you could see. And tonight, Atlantic Canada, it is your turn. Our storm watch coverage will continue. Make sure you do tune in for all the updates. Up to 40 centimeters of snow in New Brunswick. That's a lot of snow. For more on this, let's head to Nathan Coleman. Nathan, what can you tell us? Elaine, thanks for sending that in. Although you see the snow, the icicles hanging off of the rocks, it is still quite pretty. But as this storm pushes in, not the best conditions to be out there for tonight. Through this evening, the overnight makes its way further east into Newfoundland. For your morning, Thursday, we are looking at a mix. So not only snow, rain, but also freezing rain and ice pellets. Through Thursday, we're going to get into that warm sector for Nova Scotia. That's going to mean rain for you, but further north you go, we are going to see that mixing line as well. Charlottetown could get into some mixing rain, freezing rain, ice pellets. North of that, mainly a snow story for New Brunswick. And we are going to see that warm air push far north, actually. We're looking at even rain for St. Anthony, but the snow, you'll see that as well. So you'll see that transition over. Some slushy conditions. Early this morning in southern Newfoundland, you saw the snow, so some slick conditions there. Heading further west, we will have more on that coming up. On a lot of that this morning as it did start to push in. That was really wet and slushy, but now as temperatures drop, we are going to track more snow, up to 15 centimeters in Toronto. This is going to be a story in Atlantic Canada as well, where we do have a rainfall warning in place, but not only that, a number of other warnings where we could see up to 45 millimeters. Now, we will have more on that in just a moment, as well as those snowfall totals. But right now, let's head to Nathan Coleman. What can you tell us? Mostly rain in Nova Scotia. Under that warm sector, temperatures drop, and that is going to be a huge issue. Let's start in Ontario, because this is where we are seeing a lot of the snowfall right now. You are going to be hit hard, really, for the drive home. If you're heading home, watch out for some very nasty conditions, a number of road closures. We will have those updates, and you can always follow Beat the Traffic online through Twitter. They will continue to update you if you are planning on leaving work. Let's take a look at those warnings in place. We have that winter storm that's issued and highlighted right in the pink, but blowing snow as well. I want to mention Hamilton. You had blizzard-like conditions, at least 4 hours with visibility under 400 meters and winds sustained at 40 kilometers an hour. So the snow, we're continuing to see that. The mixing, that's south of the border. Yes, a snowy story for us here at home. It will continue to track through. The heaviest, that's issued right in the darker blue there. Brockville, Ottawa, seeing that. It will continue to push east throughout this evening. Taking a look at totals, what we've seen so far. Windsor, you've picked up a lot of snow, 16 centimeters of it. Toronto at the airport, 9 centimeters, but these totals will change. Now, this is as of 2 p.m. Eastern time, so we will update you when those next numbers do come out. This evening, high pressure will slide in, so we're going to see a bit of a break from the active weather, but it still will be windy. Winds sustained from 20 to 40 kilometers an hour, so that means all of that snow that's falling right now After that system pushes out, it still will be blowing all over the place. In northern Ontario, Thursday afternoon, this next system pushes in for the nickel belt. That will be a story for you as we head into your Friday morning. So the snowfall for now, we are going to see up to 25 centimeters for the Niagara region, right along the shores of Erie. Further east, Kingston into Montreal. Montreal, we're expecting to see between 15 and 17 centimeters of snow. Toronto, 10 to 15 is expected. Further north you go, we're not looking at too much, under 5 centimeters for Barrie, but still very tricky travel if you're heading up the Highway 400 north for this evening. A number of warnings in place across Atlantic Canada. Nathan Coleman was mentioning this earlier. Now, I want to talk about that flash freeze because we are getting into that warmer air in Nova Scotia. But now we have that flash freeze warning that includes Halifax, as temperatures are expected to fall drastically as we head around this. A shot from some of the blowing snow that we've seen. We're dealing with blizzard conditions in some areas, and that includes Hamilton, where we did have visibility down to less than 400 meters. Winds sustained at 40 kilometers an hour, and that was for about 4 hours. So some very, very nasty travel out there for tonight. Let's take a look at those warnings in place. Blowing snow still for Sarnia. A winter storm warning that stretches east into Montreal. Also, just Ottawa, you're not in that warning, but you are seeing the snow, and it will be heavy for you as well. Taking a look at the radar right now, we are in the worst of it for southern Ontario. If you're in the greater Toronto area, you can expect to see this last for the next few hours before finally it does start to push further east. But the worst of it right now for the next few hours, which is not the best news for your drive home. And I want to mention, if you are in the GTA, you can head to our website, theweathernetwork.com. We have live streaming set up so you can take us with you on your smartphone. The radar, the darker blue, that's the heavier snow mixing further south, some freezing rain and rain. But for us here at home, with those plunging temperatures, it is a snow story. In southern Ontario, we had some slushy conditions earlier. As Mike mentioned, temperatures have dropped. So we are getting into that lighter, fluffier snow, but a lot of it. As temperatures drop, high pressure pushes in, pulling in that Arctic air. Watch out for some icy conditions. The winds will remain strong even after that system pushes further east into Quebec and for Atlantic Canada. So blowing snow still an issue there. This next system makes its way in for northern Ontario Thursday throughout the day, overnight into Friday morning for the Nickel Belt. That's going to bring more snow, mainly staying around Cottage Country, Ottawa, and further north. But let's talk about this system that we are dealing with right now. 10 to 15 centimeters expected for Toronto. We've already seen 9 centimeters as of 2 p.m. Eastern time. So more snow, obviously, it continues right now. Further southwest along the shores of Erie into the Niagara region up to 25. Kingston, you're in that 15 to 25 range. Montreal, we're expecting to see closer to 17 centimeters. In some school closures even this morning in southern Newfoundland. This system is going to hit you as well. This evening makes its way in for New Brunswick, up to 40 centimeters of snow there. Winds will be strong as this intensifies and pushes east. Lesser amounts expected for Nova Scotia because you're getting into that warmer sector. So expect heavy rain tonight. Temperatures drop tomorrow, and then watch out for a flash freeze. If you're in Charlottetown, you are going to get a mix of everything: the snow, the rain, the freezing rain, and the ice pellets. So a very messy weather system for you. Let's talk about that snow in Newfoundland for the northern peninsula, up to 25 centimeters, central regions a bit less, and then rain further towards the south. Stay with us. Coming up, more on this active weather as it... Thanks, Kasha. I'm feeling a bit guilty that I'm inside this dry studio. As Kasha just mentioned, she measured 15 centimeters in downtown Toronto. It did start out slushy on my way to work this morning. I was driving in from Toronto to Oakville, and a slushy mess, really just pulling you off the road. But as she mentioned, temperatures are dropping. Now we are going to see that lighter snow, but blowing around, and that will be a huge issue. Speaking of blowing snow, we do have a warning in place issued in the lighter blue color, and then this winter storm warning. Hamilton, you have seen blizzard conditions, just a mess out there. So how long will this last? If you're in southern Ontario, specifically within the greater Toronto area, we're expecting this for the next 2 to 3 hours before it does push further east. And even after it tapers off, the winds are going to remain strong. That will still be an issue. Hydro One, by the way, has reported roughly 6,000 power outages in Ontario, southern parts of the province. The heavy snow, that's in this darker blue. So Brockville getting into that. Kingston, Ottawa, starting to pick up that heavy snow, but it hasn't stopped further towards the southwest. Windsor, you've seen a lot of it already, still holding on to that. It's picking it up on the radar here. Toronto, Hamilton, St. Catharines as well. South of the border, they're seeing some mixing from that, but here at home, temperatures are dropping. That cold Arctic air is rushing back in, and we are going to see more snow. As of 2 p.m., some totals, 9 centimeters. That was at the airport. As Kasia mentioned, again, 15 centimeters downtown, 8 centimeters in Trenton, 10 in London, Windsor 16, but it does continue. The winds, those will remain strong as we head throughout the evening. High pressure slides in, blowing snow. Watch out for that for tonight, especially as it gets dark out. Thursday, this next system pushes in northern Ontario. Friday morning for the Nickel Belt, and that is going to bring more snow. Well, after yesterday, southern Ontario had warmer conditions. Some were even out in T-shirts, even shorts. That's what I saw out on the streets. Winter is back. Is it ever? Up to 15 centimeters for Toronto. We could see locally higher amounts. Hamilton, the Niagara region, up to 25. Also for Kingston, Montreal, we're expecting closer to 17 centimeters. In Halifax, you have seen the snow. Now we're tracking some rain that will push in. If you're in Halifax, is that after all of this rain falls, we're watching out for the cold air to push back in Thursday, dropping drastically, and we do have a flash freeze warning in place for you. It's not listed here, but we have that rainfall warning. Sydney stretching further southwest into Yarmouth. If you're in Inverness County, we could see winds topping 130 kilometers an hour. So some very, very strong winds on the way for tonight. The heaviest across the Maritimes will be tonight. Heaviest rain for the south, getting into that warm sector further north. Even some freezing rain watching out for. And then the winter storm warning. So blowing snow and heavy snow. We are talking a lot of snowfall for you in New Brunswick, up to 40 centimeters. Heaviest again for tonight, starting up this evening through the overnight. If you're in Charlottetown, you're going to see snow, rain, freezing rain, and ice pellets, so really a mixed bag for you. South of that, mostly a rain story, some mixing, but we are going to see those warmer temperatures, as mentioned, until Thursday. Thursday throughout the day, it is going to drop. So a lot of rain, and then with that pooling, the freezing, those freezing temperatures, do watch out if you are heading out on the roads. Overnight, pushing in for Newfoundland, a messy mix is on the way. From the wind to the rain, the snow, lots of it. Stay with us. Coming up, if you're